What are the one or two stocks that you would look at in terms of adding to the portfolio via systematically investing over them on a monthly period?
Well, I have always been a believer of creating portfolio when the markets correct. And unfortunately, the human tendency is not only in India, across the globe, is the herd mentality. Markets going up 500,000 points, you will run to the stock market to invest money as if there is no tomorrow. Similarly, when the markets correct, you will run even faster to go and sell your stocks as if there is no tomorrow. So I think you have to change this approach. When the market corrects, I think if you have a long-term time horizon, these are great times. So I have two investment ideas this morning. One of them is an FMCG company which came out with its numbers very recently, ITC. And I think post the demerger of hotel business news, whatever correction that is coming, and of course on fallback of earnings that we saw very recently, it's a great opportunity to nibble into ITC. So that is the first one. And my sense is that after being an out performer in the FMCG sector for the last 6 to 8 months, the stock has now kind of matured. And my sense, our sense at Geojit Shell is that all the verticals on the balance sheet is going to fire up and start contributing to a greater extent. Forget about, leave alone the tobacco and cigarette business. I think all other businesses. The second one is from the public sector bank. Again, one of the underperformers, but earnings have been extremely well over the last couple of quarters. And that is the leading public sector bank, State Bank of India. Both these stocks, Shell, I believe the correction that we witnessed is a great opportunity to nibble into these two stocks.
And look at State Bank of India first. You have the chart in front of you, and as Gaurang very rightly pointed out, you must buy stocks when they are in pain and when none of their financials and none of their other internal workings show any kind of pain. So you have State Bank of India trading at about its lowest levels since 27th of June, and the stock has corrected from 621 to 560. Of course, short-term markets are unpredictable, and one really does not know when the stock will reverse. But a simple systematic investment plan of buying one or two shares every month or every week will help you tremendously. Gaurang, you went through the earnings of State Bank of India on a quarterly basis. It is now India's most profitable company. Quarterly profit surged beyond 18,000 crores. Anything that you caught disconcerting in SBI's earnings, and what is the reason for this correction that we've seen from 620 to 560?
Larger than expectation on the number front, and of course, the run up that we saw, Shell, just before the numbers that came in. And I think it's more of that, NPAs or gross or net NPAs would start rising up, provisioning will go up, margins will come under pressure because people are thinking since the inflation is high, interest rates might move up, etc., etc. But our opinion is absolutely on the flip side. And I always love to sit in the opposition when the larger vote is on one side, Shell. So my sense is that everything is priced in. Credit growth, we are extremely positive. And I'll tell you one simple thing, Shell. If India has to become the next $1 trillion economy, which I strongly believe it will, then banking and finance will have to play a role, or they'll have to take the lead in terms of taking us to that next $1 trillion economy. Because without credit growth, you are not going to be there. And credit growth is important. Liquidity is important for anything and everything, whether it is manufacturing or services. You need liquidity. And they are into business of lending monies and liquidity. So my sense is that liquidity will be, credit demand will be extremely strong. Interest rates, our sense earlier was that by this year end, December 23, you will see rate cuts coming through in a small fashion. But that we pushed it back to first calendar quarter, that is Jan, Feb, March 24, in case if the inflation has to come down sizably, that will give us a comfort. So, and your, of course, provisioning is likely to come down even further because of the recovery track growth. So I'm not really concerned about short to medium term speed breakers, but the long term growth story is definitely intact. So my only concern in short to medium term is that in case if these inflation numbers have to grow up, there will be a lot of noise in the street, Shell, as we are used to, that banking and finance will be in some kind of a trouble. But I strongly don't believe, strongly don't believe at Geojit. We believe long-term growth story is still in that.
Right. So here is what Gaurang's hypothesis is, that you might see short-term pain, and that's when you should set up a quality portfolio. So if you find SBI slipping over time, keep on adding. There will come a time when the stock will reverse and reclaim its previous highs. Gaurang, before we get into ITC and into pre-open, would you hazard a one-year price target on SBI?
I would, if you have to put a gun on my temple, I would say 720.
Oh, wonderful. We won't put a gun on your temple. We just make gentle requests. And again, I would like to ask you your tailor's name and address, which I'm sure you will message me in SMS. There are very few people in this world who are not on WhatsApp, and Mr. Shah is one of them. He leads a very calm, peaceful life, and that's the reason why he picks up such excellent stocks. Over to ITC. Gaurang, the market's not very happy with the way the demerger of ITC Hotels is planned. Be that as it may, this is a debt-free company. Where do you think this is headed 1 year from now?
I think 520 beyond. If I have to just pencil down the growth that they put. And let me say this, here, company management are not under the obligation, or they don't have to oblige the way market thinks. They have to think in terms of what is good and what is bad and what is positive, what is negative for the company's growth. Market may want anything and everything. They would want the sun and the moon and the star in the sky and the heaven to come down for them. But that doesn't really work. I mean, management has to think in their own professional manner. And I think it was absolutely right. Yes, there was a lot of noise on demerger of some of the business as far as ITC balance sheet is concerned. Hotel business was one of them. It is done and dusted, but it did not happen in the way the stock market thought it would happen. And so the price correction. And not to forget, uh, last 6 8 months, this has been one of the top performers as far as the FMCG sector is concerned, Shell. So give it the run up and give it the demerger news, which did not come the way market expected it to be. Hence the correction. And I think 450 or anything below those levels are great opportunity to accumulate ITC. I think 520 and beyond could be the target. I'm giving a very conservative target, Shell.
Absolutely.
Gaurang, I wanted to ask you because, ITC has been the best performing stock on the Nifty index in the last 1 year. From 15th of August, if we check last year to now, 45% of a surge is what we've already seen. So are you really being very, very conservative when you say 520? Because a lot of brokerage houses today have come out with the reports of even 530 and higher targets.
It is always to underperform when it comes to talking and overperform when it comes to deliveries. Sakshi, stock market is about all that. So I rather not. I don't want to, give some very fancy number on the high side and then possibly have a sad face. I think it is always better to be conservative in stock market.
एब्सोल्युटली, इसीलिए बाल सफेद नहीं हुए हैं गौरांग साहब के। ये
अभी हो रहे
पिछले
हैं, अभी हो रहे हैं।
ये पिछले 3 दशक की जो मेहनत है, ये आपको चेहरे पे दिख रही है। और इट इज ऑलवेज 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 better to uh, conservatively estimate where the markets are headed, so that when they outperform, you look good.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.